Hey, welcome everyone to 5 p.m. Yoga 101. I'm here with the Bay Club. Uh, I'm also teaching live at the Bay Club, and I've got, whoops,
That's still live.
still live. I've got this awesome mask. If you study with me live at the Bay Club, these masks are awesome, really well designed. So grab yourself one and practice with me live if you're in San Francisco. Uh, Otherwise, we've got our online yoga, and I'm here with my son, Sam, and he's there from Santa Cruz, so I put my Santa Cruz stuff on just for him. Anyway, we'll get going in about 2 minutes, so grab a mat, grab a water bottle, grabbing whatever else is right and good for you tonight.
Oh, my legs are so sore yesterday. Get this mat. Get it on. Yes. Much. So, it's more just for us. 30 minutes.
Awesome. All right, let's get going. All right. Finding your feet, either working a narrow stance if you want to challenge your balance, a wider stance for more balance. You can change that out as we practice this afternoon. From our feet, finding our legs, from our legs, finding our spine. Relaxing our shoulders tall through the crown of the head. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart, a light press of the thumbs against the sternum as we line up each finger. Slight tuck of the chin as we bring our attention inward, and we can start just by watching our breath as it flows in and as it flows out. Arriving here on our yoga mats, ready for an afternoon yoga practice. From this place of just observing your breath, allow you to find a shape to your breath. Long, slow inhalation. Long, slow exhalation. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to find a full body breath, bringing the air to the base of the belly, the top of the chest, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your bodies. And as you breathe out, either keeping the belly soft and just letting the air whoosh out, or adding a constriction of the low belly in and out towards the heart as we squeeze a little more air out, also providing structural support for our low back in many of these shapes that we move through in our yoga practice. To this deeper, fuller breath, moving towards the Ujjayi or ocean breath, a go-to breath in many flow practices. A slight constriction to the base of your throat to add a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this afternoon, letting the sound and feel of your breath be a focus for your practice, often compared to the sound of the ocean as the waves wash in And as the waves wash out. To the Ujjayi breath, finding Jiva Bandha, tip of the tongue to the hard palate just behind the teeth. Hard to see, hard to demonstrate, but certainly you can feel that connection, keeping your jaw relaxed and connecting front and back plane of your body. And finally, with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face, and Mona Lisa smile, opening up the front of your throat as your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, opening your eyes, hands by your side. Keeping it simple at first, breathing your arms up overhead, inhaling. Exhaling, arms down. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms down. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms down. Adding a forward fold. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length, lifting chin and tail. Exhaling, folding again. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, hands by our side. 2 more times like this. Inhaling up. Exhaling, leading with the heart as we fold, rounding the spine, tucking the chin. Take a breath to lift chin and tail. Exhaling, folding again. So you're feeling the undulations of the back. Inhaling, rising on up, maybe a little back bend at the top. On the exhale, neutral spine. Let's do one more time like that. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, folding again. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Adding on, Surya Namaskar A with or without vinyasa, yogi's choice. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, either finding your down dog or cycling through chaturanga with or without the knees. Inhaling into cobra, the hips stay down, or pulling into your up dog. And then exhaling back to down dog. Another choice could be all fours. Another choice might be a child's pose as we send sits bones back to the heels. Always finding a place to work that works for you, your breath, your energy level. Always listening to your body, and more importantly, respecting what your body has to say. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, fold. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Second one just like the first. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa, finding your yoga push-up. Inhaling into your yoga back bend. And then stretching back to down dog. Or skipping all that and just finding your down dog. Or making another choice instead. Always finding that balance between your effort and your ease. That's a classic equilibrium in the yoga practice. We want to work hard. We also want to work with a sense of not working too hard. And your breath is a good indication as to where you are in terms of that balance. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step, or take a jump. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, fold. Inhaling, hands over head pose. Exhaling, standing tall. Let's do one more Surya Namaskar. We'll add on if you choose. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Feeling free to hold down dog. I'll go sideways here. Sam, you stay just as you are. We can inhale from down dog to plank pose. And then on the exhale, lifting hips high. A couple more times if you choose. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. This last one will invite you to hold. Inhaling forward. Exhaling and holding. Inhaling and holding. Exhaling and holding. One more half breath. Breath in. Breath out. And then lifting the hips high and holding for another breath or so. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling forward. Inhaling, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, standing tall. One more warm-up exercise, Surya Namaskar B. Starts with a chair pose, inhaling. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up, we'll invite you to find that back bend at the top. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length, and then breathing out back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. From down dog, flow style, I'll go sideways. You stay just as you are, Sam. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart for the three-legged dog. High on the left toes, right leg high in the air. And then looking between the hands, bringing that right foot out through, landing it lightly as we spin the back heel down. Hands can always find the hips as you find your balance. And then up and over the head for warrior one. And then on the exhale, palms out to the side. You can spin back heel up for low lunge. And from low lunge back to down dog as you go. Again, take your time. Find your flow. Always feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, we'll invite you to find that second side. Flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Now looking between the hands, bringing that left foot on through. Spinning the back heel down, arms up and over the head for warrior one. And then on your next exhale, back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. And maybe you choose that child's pose. Wherever you choose to work. Breathing, watching that breath, and enjoying that reflection upon your breath. Wherever you are, always feeling free to stay there. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding, stay low. On the inhale, we'll come back to our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, neutral spine, hands by our side. Let's do one more Surya Namaskar B. We'll add a hip opening sequence into the mix. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out back to down dog as you go. And I'll go sideways here. You stay just as you are, Sam. Flow style. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky. High on the left toes. Without overly disturbing the shoulders, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that right hip. And then looking between the hands like a snake sticking out its tongue, bringing that foot forward, spinning the back heel down, fighting your warrior one, arms up and over the head. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge, and from low lunge back to down dog as you go. You can cycle through vinyasa, you can just find your down dog, you can just sneak in a child's pose, like Sam's doing here. When you are ready for that second side, having said that, feeling free to stay where you are, from down dog shape, Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Without overly disturbing the shoulders, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that left leg, opening up that left hip. And then looking between the hands, sweeping that left foot on through. Finding our warrior one, arms up and over the head. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog. As you want. Wherever you choose to work. Breathing, watching that breath, and enjoying your reflection upon that breath. Feeling free to stay where you are. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step, or maybe take a jump front. Take a breath to finally. Exhaling full. On the inhale, finding your chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart. A light press of the thumb against the sternum as we line up each finger, relaxing our shoulders. A slight tuck of the chin as we bring our attention back inward, just watching our breath as it flows in and out. And then hands by our side. Let's step or jump our feet hip width apart as hands find our hips. Very traditional sequence here. We're going to move towards Padangusthasana, then Padahastasana. So take a breath to lift the shoulders up, around, back, and down. Keeping that, leading with the heart just in the sun cell, just like in the sun cells, hands on the hips as we fold. Bending the knees enough so peace sign fingers can catch the big toes. Just like in the sun cells, take a breath to lift chin and tail, and then folding and holding. And I'll invite you to draw the shoulders up and back towards the hips as you relax the neck and heavy the head. As we hold this shape, I'll invite you to gently rock your head side to side, maybe adding a swing of the shoulders, a sway of the hips. And then long through both side waists, long through all sides of the neck, as your head heavies like a stone down towards the earth. You stay just as you are, stand up sideways. Make sure that people at home can see my feet. Feeling free to stay right here, or from Padangusthasana, fingers to big toe pose, moving towards Padahastasana, hands under feet pose. Take a breath to lift chin and tail, and then folding and holding as we bring the palms under the soles of the feet. Toes come to the creases of the wrists. Stepping on our hands as we stretch out our wrists, our forearms. I'll invite you to challenge and connect with your balance as you rock your body weight front to back, heel to toe. And then letting a little more weight collect towards the toes, say 60%, as you step on the hands harder, lifting the hips higher, and folding a little deeper. For this next sequence, I'm going to go backwards. Some say it's my best side. That's a joke. Inner standing forward fold. I'll invite you to bring left hand off to the left, right hand under left foot, and then stepping on right hand to stretch out right shoulder and hip. Now adding on, as we bend that far leg deeply, stepping on the hand harder. Straightening far leg, bending near leg as we step on the hand harder. Two straight legs, right hand off to the right. You can't take it.
It's my legs.
Yeah, I got you. Big workout yesterday. Yeah. Always feeling free, as Sam is choosing to do what's right and good for you. Following this practice, left hand under right foot, and we step on left hand, switching out left shoulder and hip. Now adding on, bending that far leg, stepping on the hand harder. Straightening far leg, bending near leg as we step on the floor harder. Two straight legs, let's add on one more time. Left hand off to the left, right hand under left foot, keeping that far leg as straight as we can as hand finds the hip to start the twist. That hand can set the shoulder. We can stretch hand high to the sky for a big breath into your back. Left hand comes down, right hand off to the right, left hand under right foot, and try to keep that far leg as straight as you can. And hand finds the hip to start the twist. Now using that hand to set the shoulder, now stretching hand high to the sky for a big breath into your back. Right hand comes down, left hand joins. Take a breath to set neutral spine as we bring hands onto our thighs. And then hinging at the hips, keeping the back of the head in line with the sacrum as we hinge on it. And then either stepping or jumping our feet together as we bring our hands to our heart. Either keeping a light press of the palms as your weight gathers in your feet, or adding an isometric engagement as we press those palms hard. Elbows wide, shoulders engaged. If you choose this option, I'll invite you to strongly tuck the tail as we connect with the strength in our center. And then hands by our side. Working through a standing sequence. We'll start with our chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Taking our chair lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, back to down dog, as you will. Treat yourself kindly. Sam did a big leg workout with his sister yesterday. And she's proud, I think, that she burned his legs out. From down dog, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky for the three-legged dog. High on the left toes. Lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that leg, opening up that hip. And then sweeping that right foot on through, spinning the back heel down as we find Warrior One prep, hands on the hips. In Warrior One prep, shifting weight onto the front foot as we scoot the back foot back, lining up the heels. We want to steer our hips front. Back hip moves front, front hip moves back. It's not going to be perfect. There's also going to be a high hip and a low hip. You want to try your hips even vis-a-vis the ground. From here, hands can find the shoulders, just relaxing those shoulders. Now finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat. And then we can stretch those hands high to the sky. From here, straightening the front leg, keeping a little spring in the knee, palms face back, breathing in as we gather up the energy. Exhaling as we offer it out. And let's do that a couple more times. Breathing in and breathing out. One more to go. Breathing in, breathing out, finding this shape. Warrior One with cactus arms. And then I'll invite you to find a little more space across the front of the heart. Bring the elbows back, the hands come with. Feel the stretch. You might wiggle those fingers, keeping your hands supple. From here, let's turn Warrior One into Warrior Two. As hands find the heart, we can open up the hips to face the sidewall. We might kick that back foot in just a tad for heel to arch alignment. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. From here, let's paint three rainbows. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. One more to go. Breathing in. Breathing out, Warrior Two. Now finding a clasp of the fingers behind the back, shoulder blades back and down as we move towards the Rainbow Warrior. Feeling free to stay right here, just enjoying the stretch, or challenging your balance as you take a fold inside the front leg. Level one, we park the torso on top of the thigh. Level two, we can let the torso hang free inside that front leg. And level half is right where Sam is. As you hold the shape, Sam, maybe give it a little wiggle, a little waggle. Just trying to feel into the various nooks and crannies of your body where the tightness resides. And the shoulders. Shoulders, yeah. Keep it loose. Sam's a big weightlifter, so he's got those big weightlifter shoulders, which are awesome. But yoga is a good practice for someone that lifts weights to keep those big, strong muscles supple. Those of you at home that found the forward fold, I'll suggest a tuck of the chin as we bring it on up. Everybody finding our Warrior Two shape, one long arm. From here, transitioning to the triangle, thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of ribs. We deepen that crease, we lengthen those ribs. Keeping a little spring in the knee, we ground bottom hand down in an appropriate place. We can use that top hand to set the shoulder. We can stretch that hand high to the sky. Now we're either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or up past those top fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. As we hold the shape with every breath in, gathering energy in your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel. Every time you breathe out, sending that energy out through 2 arms, 2 legs, both ends of the spine, as you make yourself bigger in space. Adding breath and movement. I'll invite you to exhale that top hand front, turning heart to the floor, a little quarter twist to the torso. On the inhale, lifting hand high as we spin heart to the sky. A couple more times. Exhale it front. Inhale it up. This last one, let's hold. Exhale it front. The bottom hand joins. Pure side motion. No twist to the torso. Arms frame the ears. You go a little bit more sideways. No? We'll breathe 2 hands up. And exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over and hold as we reach. I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers. And then either back to our triangle or moving towards the half moon, the triangle on 1 foot as hand finds the hip. We scoot the back foot in. I'll suggest right hand well off to the right if you're new to the shape. Finding your foundation. From the foundation, finding the float. Now setting the shoulder, now stretching hand high, either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or up to the sky, with that mixture of effort and ease. There's lots of places to work. A lot of us don't have yoga blocks at home, but a nice thing you could always, at least if you have a few books around, is raise the floor with a book or 2. And again, as we hold the shape, I'm not going to make them hold it too much longer. I just want to, again, breathing into your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel. And then when you breathe out, getting a little bigger. From here, coming down with grace and control. 2 feet find the floor. We come back to our warrior 2. And then I'll suggest a big windmill of the arms as we find low lunge. And from low lunge back to down dog as you will. The nice thing about Facebook Live is there is that comment option. So if there's any shape you'd like to get to, please tell me. We're going to decide to do in this sequence. Also, if I'm not loud enough or if I'm too loud, just tell me. Too loud, you can just turn the volume down gently. Moving towards our second side on this sequence. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky for that 3-legged dog. High on the right toes. Now stacking the hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip. And then looking between the hands, bringing your foot on through as hands find the hips for Warrior 1 prep. In Warrior 1 prep, we go a little longer in the stance for more stretch in our legs. Warrior 1 is heel to heel alignment. We can use our hands as feedback on our hips. So that back hip, we want to steer front hip back. Front hip's probably a little bit higher than back hip to try to even the hips vis-a-vis the floor. From here, we can bring hands onto our shoulders, just relaxing those shoulders. And now switching the cross of the fingers, we can walk it 1 over as we press our head into our hands, open heart, open throat, and then stretching those hands high to the sky. And with the breath, gathering up the energy, inhaling. On the exhale, offering it out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out, and holding for a big breath into your heart. Allow you to bring those elbows back, the hands come with. Again, feel free to wiggle those fingers, keeping your hands nice and supple. Now turning Warrior 1 into Warrior 2 as hands find the heart. We open up the hips, we may kick the back foot in just a tad for heel to arch alignment. And then finding 1 long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a steady yet relaxed gaze. From here, painting 3 rainbows, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. 1 more to go, breathing in. Breathing out, Warrior 2. And now that rainbow warrior, either level half, level 1, or level 2. Level half, we just stretch those shoulders back and down. Enjoy the stretch. And then maybe challenging your balance with a forward fold, either using the thigh as a place to park the torso, or letting the torso hang free. Shoulders up and back towards the hips as we relax the neck and heavy the head. And wherever you choose to work. Different ways to work these shapes, either keeping the pose in stillness, seeing what arises. I certainly love to do that, particularly in a restorative class. In these movement classes, I like to stir it up a little bit. Just a little shake, a little sway. Like stirring a pot of chili, just trying to get that flavor to come up. Those of you that found the forward fold, I'll suggest a tuck of the chin to stretch out the back of the neck as we bring it on up, coming back to our warrior 2. From here, the I'm a little teacup transition. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib, deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs. Keeping a little spring in that knee as we ground bottom hand down. We can set that top shoulder. We can stretch hand high to the sky, either looking down to the ground, or off to the side, or up past those top fingers to the sky with that balance of effort and ease. As we hold the triangle with every breath in, finding your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel, sending the breath to that place. And every breath out from that place, going longer through the limbs, longer through the spine, as you make yourself bigger in space from the inside out. Now adding breath and movement as we exhale that top hand front, turning our heart to the floor. Inhaling, lifting hand high as we spin heart to sky. A couple more times, exhaling. And inhaling. Let's hold this next one, exhaling. Now the bottom hand joins. Pure side motion, push as far as sideways. We breathe 2 hands up. And exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over and hold. And I want you to wiggle those fingers, keeping your hands supple. And then either back to the triangle or finding your half moon. Hand finds the hip. We scoot the back foot, and you might even add a second hand to the equation as you find your foundation. From the foundation, finding the float, second hand could stay on the floor. Second hand could find the hip. You might set the shoulder. We might stretch high to the sky. Maybe spinning face to look up past those top fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. Again, wherever you choose to work, breathing, watching that breath, and enjoying that reflection upon your breath. And generally in yoga, we breathe in and out through the nose if you can. Having said that, if you can't get the air you want, feeling free to use that mouth. But generally the nose is a good filtration system. Also provides more consciousness to our breath. Coming down with grace and control. Hand finds the hip. We land back foot lightly. 2 feet find the floor for our warrior 2. And then I'll suggest a big windmill of the arms as we find low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa, stretching straight back, or maybe sneaking in a child's pose instead. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step. Or maybe take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. Exhale and fold. On the inhale, stay low. We'll come back to our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll invite you to bring hands to heart. Either keeping that light press of the palms as your weight gathers in your feet, or adding that isometric engagement as we press the palms together, elbows wide, shoulders engaged, I'll encourage you to find that strong tuck of the tail as we connect with the strength in our center. And then releasing that tuck, hands by our side. Let's work through a revolved standing sequence. Let's start it with a balance pose, the standing half lotus. Hands find the hips. Let's go a little wider in our feet so we got a nice foundation before we start to challenge that foundation. Shifting weight to the right foot. Our left foot gets light. You might just see what it's like. This could be a half stage here. Just play with what it's like to stand on the right foot as you lift that left toe. If you feel like you can stand on one foot, maybe we find a figure 4 shape as we bring that ankle above the knee. From here we can start to sit down in an invisible chair, either keeping hands on hips or hands find the heart. Maybe we stretch those hands high to the sky, either looking down to the ground, very grounding, straight out in front towards the horizon, or maybe lifting your face to look up between those hands, as if you're holding a large glass ball. High hands, if they went high, come back to the hips. We can straighten that right leg, that standing leg, as we lift this left thigh high, the toe points down. We can lean a little bit forward as we draw energy into our center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel, and either staying there or lengthening through the leg. Taking that lifted leg a little higher. And then I'll invite you to sweep it on through. If you have to tap the toe down, no big deal. We're going to move towards Warrior 3. So it's like the half moon, except the hips face down. So it's Warrior 1 hips, not Warrior 2 hips. Back foot is flexed. Either keeping hands on hips, always stretch hands towards that back foot. We can stretch hands out to the side. Maybe we stretch those hands in front and we lift the face to look through those hands as if we're looking through a large glass ball. From here, let's bring hands back to the hips if they're left to hips. And let's land that back foot lightly as we find our Warrior 1 prep. Lining up the heels, lengthening the stance as we shift weight onto front foot. Steering the hips, relaxing the shoulders, clasping the fingers, pressing the head into the hands. Let me go sideways. You say just as you are, Sam. As we open up 4th and 5th chakra, heart and throat, community and communication. From here, let's find a tray in front. Breathing in as we gather energy into our center of balance. On the exhale as we offer it out. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out, and holding for a big breath into your heart. Again, as we bring the elbows back, the hands come with, feel free to wiggle those fingers. From here, let's move towards a twist. Hand finds the hip of the front leg. We can find length on the far side, palm faces back, inhaling. As we reach up, on the exhale as we reach out. Do that a couple more times, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And I'll invite you to find revolved, extended side angle. We can start the twist with the wrist. We can slide to the elbow, either keeping hand on hip or finding your prayer hands, either looking down off to the side or up past that top elbow with that mixture of effort and ease. Solidly grounding down through that back heel, strong back leg. From the strength of that leg, finding maybe a little more twist. As you press those palms together, feel the shoulder blades moving back and down as we open up that 4th chakra. Let's move towards Parsvottanasana or pyramid pose. From our twist, let's come out easily as we frame that front foot with both hands. Big step in as we line up the heels, big angle on the back foot, and then any amount straightening that front leg. Again, this is another great place. If you don't have yoga blocks, and many of us don't, you could also, hopefully you saved your chemistry textbooks for college. I told you they'd come in useful, Sam. As we hold the shape, try to relax that neck and head to that head. And now let's move between Warrior 1 hips in Warrior Two hips. Any amount here as we invite more prana, more life force into our hips. Feel free to bend the knee a lot. You can also come up here to this place down. As we hold Parsvottanasana, opening your hips to face the side, and then squaring the hips front. Hello. Hips face side. Hips face front. Hips face side. And hips face front. From here, moving towards the revolved triangle, we'll bring the right hand to the back of the sacrum. The palm faces up. Left hand walks in, either big toe or crossing the wrist over the ankle. Keeping the hips relatively level, lengthening through each side waist as we turn our heart towards a straight front leg. Hand can stay on the sacrum. We can set the shoulder. We can stretch that hand high to the sky, either looking down, off to the side, or up to the sky, with that mixture of effort and ease. So we want to have other hand on sacrum. So we want to have, we want to twist towards this leg here.
This leg?
Yeah, so that hand's going to be down. Yeah, it's a twist. Yeah, further open this thing. We're twisted, we're balancing, still finding your breath. Coming out of revolved triangle easily as we frame front foot with both hands, bending that front knee, stepping back foot back for low lunge, and from low lunge back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. You can take your time, find your flow, follow your breath. Wherever you choose to work, coming back to an even breath, the Samavriti, watching that breath as it flows in and as it flows out. If you choose to take child's pose, awesome. If you've stayed in down dog, also another great option. Both poses, great places to breathe into your back as you find more space in those back lungs and breathing into those lungs. Wherever you are, always feeling free to stay there. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you mindfully make your way front. Take a breath to find light. On the exhale, folding and holding. This time I'll invite you to widen your feet as we toe heel the feet out. Soft knees as we catch opposite elbows and gently swaying your body from side to side. Now switching the cross of the elbows, keep swaying side to side. And then back to center. Let's give our low back some assistance on the roll up as we bring hands under our thighs, the chin is tucked. And this is different than the hinge. We want to massively stack our vertebrae. We roll it on up, pushing hands into thighs for the assist to give our low back a little assistance. Lifting the chin tall through the crown, 2 hands high in the air as if we're holding a big ball. And then 3 big full body breaths. Our hands and fingers can mimic our ribs. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And then I'll invite you to inhale, hands to heart. Either keeping that light press of the palms or adding that isometric engagement as we connect with the strength of our center. And then hands by our side. So let's jump it in thin like a pin. We'll jump it out hip width apart. And we'll move towards that standing half lotus second side. Hands find the hips as we shift weight onto left foot. Let's experiment here to seeing what it's like to stand on left foot. We can keep tapping that right toe down. This could be a great place to work. If you're feeling like you do have your balance, maybe finding that standing half lotus, the figure 4 shape, ankle above knee, and we start to sit down in an invisible chair as we stretch out that right hip. Either keeping hands on hips, or hands find the heart. Either keeping hands at heart, or we stretch those hands high, either looking down, very grounding, off to the horizon, or up to the sky. If hands went high, they can come back to the hips. We can straighten the standing leg. We can lift this right thigh high, the toe points down. Leaning a little bit forward as we draw energy into our center of balance. And either staying right here or going long through the leg. Lifting that leg a little higher. And then we'll move towards Warrior 3 here with arm variations if you choose. As we sweep that foot through, feel free to tap the toe down. Back leg long, back foot flex as we hinge ourselves forward. Either keeping hands on hips or stretching hands towards that back foot. Maybe we find our eagle arms out to the side. Maybe we stretch those hands in front, classic X position, and then lifting the face as if we're looking through a large glass bowl. Hands come back to the hips. We can land that back foot lightly as we find our Warrior 1 prep. Lining up the heels, finding a length of stance that works for you. Squaring the hips. Relaxing the shoulders. One more time, a clasp of the fingers behind the head. Pressing the head into the hands, open heart and throat, fourth and fifth chakra, community and communication. And then finding that tray in front. Let me go sideways. Breathing in as we gather energy into our center of balance. On the exhale, offering it out. A couple more times. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out in, holding. And a big breath into your heart. Feel the stretch. This is a go-to shape. Doesn't have to be on a yoga mat as we counteract this shape. And then from here, moving towards our twist. Left hand finds left hip. We find length on the right side, reaching up. And then reaching out. Reaching up. And then reaching out. Reaching up. And then reach, reach, reach. We can start the twist with the wrist. You might stay right here. We can slide to the elbow, either keeping hand on hip or finding your prayer hands, either looking down, off to the side, or up past that top elbow. As you press the palms together, feel the shoulder blades moving back and down. More openness in that fourth chakra, the heart chakra. And then breathing into that openness as we find more space in that thoracic spine. Thoracic is your rib spine, it's where the ribs connect in. Very structurally stable for good reason, to protecting our heart and lungs. Having said that, we have more freedom in the thoracic, the mid-spine. Our low back is a little more easeful, as is our neck and shoulders. One more long, smooth, slow breath here. Coming out easily as we move towards Parsvottanasana, our pyramid pose. Feel free to grab those books down. As we step the back foot in, big angle on the back foot. Rounding down through the hands, feel free to bend that front knee any amount. Try to relax the neck and heavy the head. As we hold this shape, inviting the back of the knee to open, but you want to be an invitation. Much like ourselves, when we push parts of our body around, they tend to rebel. So inviting that hamstring to lengthen, connecting with whatever sensation you're feeling. And again, Sam had a hard leg work yesterday, so I'm sure his legs are tight. That's why the yoga is a great counter pose for that hard leg work out he did with his sister. Or not. So now we want to...
So much lactic acid.
Now you want to chase it away. So now we're going to invite more prana, more life force into our hips as we move between Warrior 1 hips, the hips face front, and Warrior 2 hips. And I love to do this in Parsvottanasana because you're also exploring the various aspects of the hamstring muscle. Inner, center, and out. As we rock the hips out, and then back front. Rocking the hips out, and then back front. Rocking hips out, and then back front. Now moving towards revolved triangle, the hips are squared front. We can bring left hand to the sacrum, the palm faces up. That's our feedback mechanism to keep the hips relatively level. Right hand walks in. We want to keep the hips level as we twist from the torso. Again, more space in that thoracic spine. Tail end of the motion, you might let the hips play just a little bit. And then we set the shoulder We stretch hand high, either looking down, off to the side, or up to the sky. And it's a twist. Nice hip. Noticing any differences between the two sides? I'm noticing Sam seems a little more easeful on this side for whatever reason. And we all have those differences. And that's part of our yoga. Just self-study, self-examination. Usually it's very esoteric, but it could also be very pragmatic. Left versus right, top versus bottom, front versus back. One more breath here. And then coming out easily as we frame front foot with both hands. Big step back as we find our lunge. And from lunge, back to down dog. As you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. And again, child's pose options, also a great place to hang out. Wherever you are, always feeling free to stay there. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step. Or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, folding. Now let's hold this forward fold. As we toe heel the feet wide, catching opposite elbows, just swing our bodies from side to side, getting into those hips, releasing and relaxing our back, relax shoulders, relax neck, heavy. Now switching across to the elbows, keep swaying side to side. And then back to center. I'll allow you to bring your hands onto your thighs, the chin is tucked, as we masterfully roll ourselves up with the thigh assist. Lifting the chin tall through the crown. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Ears, shoulders, hips over heels. From here, 2 hands high in the air as if we're holding a big ball. And 3 big full-body breaths. Our hands and fingers can mimic our ribs. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. And then I'll allow you to inhale, hands to heart. Either keeping that light press of the palms or adding that isometric engagement as we connect with our center. And then hands by our side. So let's jump it in thin like a pin. From thin like a pin, let's jump it out wide like a house. From here, let's bring hands to hips and angle our feet out. Now in yoga, we call this a half goddess squat. In rugby, they call it a sumo squat. So either you're a goddess or a sumo wrestler. Up to you. We're going to rock it on down as we take it in. We're going to bring knees over heels as elbows find the inner thighs, hands find the heart. As we get into those hips, I'd like you to keep rocking it from side to side. From here, let's play either staying here, great place to hang out, or maybe playing with your Bakasana arm balance. As we ground down through 2 palms, we bring the knees into the armpits, and then we shift the weight into the hands as we float either one or both feet up towards the sits bones. Keep pressing those shoulders down to the floor. Yeah, you might lift one foot, you might lift the other. If you have tight shoulders, maybe your knees are really far from the armpits, and you can still do the balance, but be aware that it might hurt a little bit. Really spread this glute wide. Nice foundation. And then when you've played with that a little bit, just coming back to our squat, and then let's land our knees gently as we find an all-fours position on our mat. One of my favorite sequences is the cat-dog stretch with add-ons. Let me go sideways here. Breathing in as we unfurl the feet, lifting chin and tail as we arc the back. Breathing in, tucking toes, tucking tail, tucking chin as we draw it in. Couple more times, breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding it. One more time, breathing in, lifting it up. Exhaling, rounding it in. Now throwing a child's pose into the mix, breathing in, lifting chin and tail, Big toes touch sits bones back to the heels as we round the spine. Breathing in, coming up center. On the exhale, back to the heels as we round the spine. One more time. Breathing in, finding the arc. Breathing out, finding the round. Let's add side to side. Breathing in, finding the arc. And then drawing it back towards one heel as we round. Breathing in, coming up center. And then finding that other heel. 2 more times each way. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. 1 more time each side. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, drawing it back. Inhaling, finding center. On the exhale, drawing it back. Let's throw a figure 8 into the mix. Breathing in, coming up center. Drawing it back to a heel. Keep the hips low, finding second heel. Up on the other diagonal, shifting shoulders and hips and back to first heel. 2 more times this direction. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Let's take that figure 8 the other way. Up on the other diagonal, shifting shoulders and hips and back to second heel. Inhale, up. Exhaling, drawing it back. 1 more time, breathing in. And breathing out, drawing it back. And then back to an all-fours position. And then I'll suggest a child's pose with a cross of the forearms as we let ourselves be super, super heavy on the floor. If crossed forearms are too low, you might find a pair of soft fists and letting your head rest on those fists. With every exhale breath, just letting yourself settle. With every inhale breath, just finding a little more space on the inside. From our child's pose, let's come on back and bring our feet off to that less familiar side. We usually have a preferred side. Identifying that and then going the other way. Let's find 2 long legs in front. You face that way. From here, let's give our knees a little love and consideration as we bring a hand onto each side. Now fingers can find the back of the knee. And then letting the muscles around the knee relax as we give that kneecap a little wiggle. Other side, a hand on each side, just a little warmth, a little circulation. Fingers find the back of the knee. And then giving that kneecap a little wiggle. Let's treat our hips with a little care and consideration, using the heels of our hands on our hips, just kneading it out. And then we bring our hands onto our low back. And just giving our low back a little massage. From here, let's do a long, slow roll down onto our spines. So we start from tall spine, or neutral spine, back of the head's in line with the sacrum. Frankenstein arms, we can tuck tail and chin as we find C-spine. We slowly roll ourselves down, laying each vertebrae down as if we're laying pearls onto a cushion. When we get down, I'll suggest full body stretch. Arms overhead, not too low. We want to keep the ribs soft and drawing in. Breathing in as we point fingers and toes. On the exhale, flexing hands and feet. Couple more times. Breathing in as we point. Exhale as we flex. Breathing in as we point. Exhale as we flex. And then I'll invite you to sweep your hands by your side, laying the head down as we flatten the shoulders. Giving your armpits lots of room to breathe. Giving your inner thighs lots of room to breathe. Doing whatever else feels right and good for you this afternoon as we find our Shavasana. Tip of the tongue is now neutral in the mouth. A slight part to the lips, but still breathing in and out through the nose. And we'll be here a couple minutes in this room. I'll certainly invite you at home to hold your Shavasana a long time. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Eventually you get a deep, deep sense of relaxation, which feels really, really good. Hold our Shavasana, feeling the front plane of the body falling into the back plane, and both planes of the body heavying into the floor. I'm going to ring these yoga bells 3 times. Again, at home, feel free to hold your Shavasana. Here in this room, listening to the bells, listening to their duration, listening as they diminish, and then hearing the silence afterwards. Again, at home, feel free to stay right where you are. For the purposes of this hour-long class, here in this room, I'll invite you to wiggle your fingers and toes as we invite more prana into our bodies. Now drawing that prana in towards center as we gently circle our wrists and our ankles. Adding a little shimmy of the shoulders, a little shake of the hips. And now I'll invite you to draw one knee at a time in towards your heart. As your hands catch your shins, it's called Apanasana. A great pose for digestion, just gently lifting and lowering the low back and hips as we gently massage our center of balance. Now taking it side to side, releasing and relaxing our low back. And then stretching long to the right arm, rolling on your side, letting that arm serve as a cushion for the head. As we share a well-deserved breath here on the floor, I invite you to let that breath sigh out through your mouth. And then pushing on up, finding a cross-legged sit. As we sit tall, I invite you to bring your hands onto your knees, pulling back with your hands to sit up a little straighter, a little taller. A slight tuck of the chin. 5 fingers of one hand find the floor. The palm of the other hand faces the sky. Ending our practice as we start. As we watch our breath flow in. And as we watch our breath flow out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bring your hands in towards your heart and bow as we thank yourselves for practicing yoga, and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you all for practicing with us. Thank you, Sam, for, despite his hard leg workout yesterday.
It's hard.
I know, it's hard. That's why yoga is great. Anyway, if you can practice with us live at the Bay Club, we got these awesome masks. If you can score one of these, they're really well designed. I've been able to bicycle, do all kinds of cool, hard things with my mask on, which is a good thing these days. Anyway, see you next time. I've got my personal feed. Feel free to check my Facebook page out for that. We've got a few more classes this week, and we'll see you next time.